Hi guys. So I am not going to be paying attention. I'm driving. Unsafe, yes I know. Just this once, but I wanted to get this on there and out there before I forgot it all because it's still very, very fresh. I'm about halfway home at this point from California. So I know this is kind of my introductory video, but what else? I'm Ginger. I'm contracted with a company called Central Coast Surrogacy out of California. I'm driving home from my appointment with HRC Pasadena, Dr. Kolb's office, for my medical clearance screening for being a gestational carrier for a family that can't make babies of their own on their own. So just kind of wanted to give an overview. This is my first time doing this. I'm not a seasoned surrogate. I'm somebody who has thought about doing this for a very long time. Honestly, probably since I was about 17. I had my daughter when I was 17 and just thought it was the coolest thing ever. So it's something that I've always wanted to do and just haven't gotten around to doing it until now. Taking a little convincing on my husband's part. So drove to California today. I live in Arizona. Drove to California. Drove to Pasadena, which was supposed to be about a 4-hour drive. Ended up being about a 5.5-hour drive due to traffic and construction, which was just peachy little keen. Made me about 20 minutes late to my appointment. Called, let them know I was going to be late. They were completely, totally understanding. Got me in just as soon as I got there. They immediately drew my blood and did my lab work. Gave them some urine for a drug test. I finished my paperwork and very quickly got me back to the NP's office for my intake interview. Discussed some things. I am assuming that while we were doing our little intake interview, she was doing her psych eval at the same time, since there was no traditional when I show you this picture, what do you see kind of psych eval. I wasn't really sure what to think with the psych eval part, as I've never been evaluated by a psychiatrist, so hopefully I passed. I answered all her questions, had some questions of my own. She discussed some very important points in the surrogacy process. Wanted to know if I understood how it worked. Wanted to know my feelings on selective reduction, termination based on genetic issues and issues with the baby. All things that, while you're having your own children, you don't really think about because it's a personal decision. It's something you get to make for yourself. It's a little bit different when you're being a surrogate, and I'm finding that out very quickly here, because my views on it are, if it's healthy, regardless if there's something going on with it, say Down syndrome, something like that, it's still a healthy baby. But at the same time, another family may not feel that same way, and it's a big decision. It's something that may go against your moral compass, but how do you make that decision? It's your body, but it's their baby. So we discussed that aspect, and she just wanted to make sure that I think that I understood that part of it. It's not my baby, and I fully do understand, but at the same time, it's very hard for me to say that a child with a livable condition that in my eyes would not be that big of a deal may be a very large deal for another family. So we discussed that, and she said, when I haven't actually spoken to the parents of the child I'm potentially to be carrying. I believe they've requested to wait to make initial contact until they were sure that I was going to clear. So I can understand that, but something that needs to be discussed and how they feel about it. I understand they are spending a lot of money to have a child of their own, and yeah, it's a big decision. So, all right, moving on. So after we discussed all that good stuff and how many embryos would be transferred and how I felt about having more than one baby in there and all that good stuff, we went over to the procedure room to do vitals and do the ultrasound / sonohistogram. I don't know if every clinic does this. This one did. Like I said, I've never done this before, so I didn't really know what to expect. And this part caused a little bit of, I won't say anxiety, but I guess for lack of a better word, anxiety. Mainly because I didn't really know what to expect. And I've never actually had my uterus looked at in that manner. And you just never know never know. But basically the gist of it is they take you in there, and it's kind of like a pap smear. They did do a pap smear, and they do some testing for STDs as well. And from there they did a mock transfer. So they did the same procedure they would do for an actual transfer if they're actually dropping a baby. That's what I'm calling it, baby dropping. If they were actually placing a little baby in there, and then they, using that same catheter, they instill some sterile saline into your uterus to make sure that your uterus is sound, that you don't have any polyps or fibroids or like a frenulum or a double uterus, what we call a bicornuate uterus. It's basically where you have a wall down the center of your uterus. Make sure that there's nothing funny going on in there, no scar tissue, nothing like that. I'm happy to say that my uterus is perfect. Makes me very happy. They instill the solution, they look at it, they look at your ovaries, make sure your ovaries look normal, make sure the wall of the uterus looks normal, and then they remove the catheter and you're done. However, be prepared, because when the catheter comes out, you get a flood of water. It feels like you're peeing on yourself, kind of like when your water breaks, how it just goes, and it just keeps going. So if it will tell you, but if you don't hear it or get this video after you've spoken to your clinic, bring a panty liner, because you get a little wet. It's a little wet. Don't freeball it that day, that's for darn sure. And then after that, they just took some vitals, like I said, and they took a weight, and then I went to my coordinator, who is my main contact for the clinic, and she broke down the consents for me, consents that I had to sign, consents that my husband has to sign, gave me my husband's lab work. For those of you who have a partner, be prepared, make your husband, your boyfriend, your fiance, whoever he may be, understand that there is lab work he has to do as well. So they test him for the same stuff they test you for. They want to make sure he's not carrying any HIV, any STDs that are communicable. It's an infectious disease process is all it is. Because if he's carrying it and you're having sex with him, he's going to pass it on to you, and therefore it can potentially cause problems with pregnancy. And from there, she was the one I got to ask the big questions to. How many embryos are we actually going to transfer? What medications am I going to be on? What are the side effects of those medications? This is where I had the hardest time with everything, and honestly what gave me biggest pause in agreeing to pursue this. Not agreeing, but deciding to pursue this. I'm a nurse. I'm a labor nurse. I see the other end of infertility. I see the happy ending of these fertility treatments. But that does not mean I know about fertility treatments. I know the general, gisty, kind of like vague fertility stuff. But the medications that girls take, that they put these ladies on early in the pregnancy and early in the cycle to make sure that they can carry and to get that baby to stick, I don't know. And I couldn't find any information on it, so I was very hesitant. I couldn't find a lot of information on anything, honestly. From the beginning, I can find, the general overview, but a lot of the websites, like clinic websites and other websites, don't go into a lot of detail on the meds and how they make you feel and what the side effects are and what the negative side effects are, more than just pain at the injection site or being hormonal, but like the true concerns, like blood clots and like breast changes, things. I mean, all it's things that come with hormones. And so this was my chance to ask that to my coordinator. She had those answers for me, and she broke it down for me, exactly what I would be taking, when I would be taking it, how I needed to take it, how much of it I would be taking. Also made it very clear that, if the preferred route is this, the preferred method is this, but if that's absolutely not working, they will definitely work with me and try a different form of the medication, whereas I am super afraid of sharp objects. I don't want to be poked with them. I don't want to think about being poked with them, and the fact that I have to stab myself with a needle every day freaks me out. Well, I don't think it's every day, I think it's every third. Either way, it freaks me out. And she said, if you get to the point where you just can't do it, then you just let me know, and we'll work with you, and we'll see if we can get it in a different route. Maybe you can take it orally, or you can take a suppository, a lozenge, I can't say the word, that you suck on like a hard candy. So she was very, very understanding to that, and I but she says, you know, I know you're putting your body through a lot, but we still want you to be comfortable even though this is for someone else. So they were very understanding, and that was very helpful. Very accommodating as to my schedule, because my schedule is a little bit different than most. I live in Arizona, I work in Nevada, and I will be doing all of the reproductive stuff in California. I kind of feel like the tri-state travel company here. But she said, you know, the weekly ultrasounds or bi-weekly ultrasounds or whatever they needed to do during the pre-transfer stage, she would be able to coordinate at a clinic in Las Vegas where I work at, which works out pretty darn well because I can just do it after work. So I mean, they were very understanding. It was very nice. But I also made it a point to say, you know, I work in Las Vegas. I was very open about that. I think that was what was important, is that I was very open and honest about that. I asked her the questions that I felt were important and things that I thought were going to affect me. And pretty much from there we were done. I snatched a little piece of candy off the counter, felt I deserved it, and skedoodled on my way home. And it is about 3 hours post sonohistogram right now. My uterus hurts. It may be a good piece of real estate, but man, my uterus hurts. It's been quite a while. I had an IUD in place for 10 years, and it's been quite a while since I had to cramp like this. So I had forgotten to take the Motrin before I went there, and I wish I hadn't. I am a little crampy. It makes my back hurt a little bit, and so be prepared for that. If you haven't ever had anything like that done, just be prepared that it's very crampy and it's leaky. It makes my back hurt a little bit, but other than that, it was a very easy appointment, and really nice. I mean, really, I quite enjoyed my little visit with them. Everybody was very friendly, very open to talking, very helpful, and answered all my questions. Yeah, so this is the start. This is the start of my, I don't want to call it journey because I think it sounds silly when I say journey, but this is the start of this adventure for me. I'm very excited about it, and I really cannot wait to meet the parents of this little baby I'm gonna carry, and can't wait even more to get to the end of it so I can see their faces when they finally see their child, because really, that's the payoff. And that's not just a line, I promise. That is the payoff. I see it all the time at work. I see these parents who have tried and struggled so hard with infertility and worked so hard at babies, and then when they finally get it, that look on their face is just amazing. That moment right there. It's still sometimes, I've been a labor nurse about 10 years, you guys, and still after 10 years, it still chokes me up a little bit. And this is just gonna make it even cooler. So I'm gonna try to update as things happen, and I will make little videos as things happen. And yeah, hopefully pretty soon we'll have a little munchkin baby growing in my little uterus, like that, little baby. I'll keep you posted.